Hi guys, how are you?
What up,
Hey,
Ben?
how's it going, Ben? How's your day going?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Sorry, I had a bit of difficulty with the enabling the microphone, but we're there.
Oh no, you're good. No worries.
No worries, man. Have you done these Twitter Spaces before?
Never.
Hey, let's go. We're excited to have you on, man.
Thank you.
Welcome to the base space. Um,
Thank you very much for
little,
having me.
yeah, of course, man. We're excited, and thank you for taking out the time of your day. I'm sure you're super busy.
Yeah, no problems, mate. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, I always like to give our guests like a little background that this is the base space. Pretty much I got into like the Twitter beta super early for spaces. It just kind of started out as like a group of friends, a way to connect, and we've just slowly built up like an audience. And now it's turned into like kind of an educational platform for crypto Twitter, where we just provide all we bring on all different types of projects, provide as much information as possible, and just provide a platform for the community to learn about all the super base projects. We primarily focus on Chainlink integrations, which is how we stumbled
Yep.
across your
Yep.
project. So yeah. We're really excited to have you on, and I'm here today with my co-host Super High.
What up, Ben?
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. At what time? What time is it over there?
We're based in Vietnam, so it's 8 a.m.
8 a.m.
Oh,
Wow,
that's not
bright and
bad.
early.
Just kicking.
Uh,
Well, yeah, we get up pretty early and kick off the day, but yeah, I can give a bit of I can give a 2 minute background, and then if we know what sort of knowledge base. I'm assuming that a lot of your guys are pretty switched on and understand a lot about crypto, or is it a blend of people that are brand new to the space?
Oh, a blend for sure. Because me
Okay.
myself, I'm new for within a year, but some people that have been listening in here have been in crypto since probably 2017, if not longer.
yeah,
Fantastic.
we definitely have a really good blend, Ben. Of people that have been in here probably in crypto for like eight plus years, and then there's other people that are just brand new.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I'll give you a quick my quick background. Ben Fairbank, CEO, co-founder of RedFox Labs, but long time ago. So before I started out my career in contact centers, call centers back in the day, which was a interesting career choice. Worked my way up through the ranks and became a team leader and a call center manager and all the rest of it. And then worked my way to a CEO role by the time I was 30, and then went on and did specialized in company turnarounds, and predominantly on customer experience and cultural change management. So I worked as a C-level for Grab, which is the biggest ride hailing in Southeast Asia. I worked for Ooredoo, one of the biggest telcos in the world, Virgin, Telstra, Saudi Telecom, some of the big telcos in the Middle East. Basically just traveled around for 12 years on contracts, helping to turn companies around that were suffering poor profits or had terrible customer experience, and got into the crypto space because of the fact that I thought I can't keep sending money back from these countries at these stupid rates that Western Union and all these horrible banks charge. There's got to be a better way, hence crypto. Got into the space a long time ago, but started running a project for a couple of years, and then worked out that we're basically, in crypto terms, it's kind of like Linux was back in the day. Everyone's got the great space race for whose platform's going to take off. And what we worked out was, hang on, this is very much like Linux. Linux needed a Red Hat, someone who could come along and build products and projects and good companies on top of the technology. So why don't we do RedFox and do similar to a rocket internet? Let's build a number of companies that click together to form a super app on top of blockchain technology. So we looked at the fastest growing regions in the world, moved to Vietnam and said, this is where the emerging markets are. This is where all the tech, thirsty, savvy, fast growing digital economy is. Let's go over there, base ourselves where the opportunity is, and let's start building some companies that are in the fastest growing sectors of the internet economy. And then let's use blockchain as our differentiator and use that to give us the advantage over the other companies.
Wow, that's really cool, Ben.
Yeah, that's that's a gigabrain move, looking at the different sectors and just balls to walls, go to Vietnam.
It wasn't easy. And to be honest, if you looked at the region, you would have gone Singapore. Yeah, you can easily set up businesses, English levels high. Yes, there's competition, but if you looked at Vietnam, you saw, hang on, GDP rivaling China for 7 years, emerging country, beautiful to live in, like scenic and food, people are great. Yes, language, not so much English, very difficult to register and do business here. But if you put in the effort, you have a lot less competition here. So it was a big move, and starting a venture builder where you're required to build multiple companies that click together, that's also a ballsy move, because we've got friends that in the big VCs from when we were working at Grab and Virgin and all of the big companies, and they turned around and sort of said, "Yep, good luck, mate. Come back and see us when you've got a couple off the ground, because unless you've got many tens of millions, good luck getting stuff off the ground, because it's very, very hard to get startups going." But we used our experience, and we've got the first couple of things out. We've got a game coming out, and now we've got about 4 ventures in a row that will drop very shortly all together.
Yeah, we definitely want to dive into all the different pieces of the puzzle that you guys are working on. I'm curious, did you bootstrap the funding all by yourself, or are you also supported by VCs?
No. So we did what they called the IEO, but I think it's been well documented, and I get in trouble for saying too much all the time. But we did the IEO route, and anyone who's done IEOs will know that these are the first wave of crypto, the big crypto boom that you said some people here are back from 2017. So that big run was all about the projects, right? Then the IEO run was all about the exchanges. So exchanges would launch your token, do a token sale. People that did IEOs didn't actually walk away with anything. What happens is the exchanges generally lock up the money for X period of time and then use that for market making services or whatever. So you're very lucky to walk away with anything. Generally a bill. It's more for the publicity or more for but you don't find that out until you're well down the track. But we basically grinded. We funded ourselves. We had Mike Novogratz come on on the token side. But we didn't sell any equity. We resisted selling equity because we understand that once we do that, we'd be told that our idea was too ambitious, and to focus on one thing and to just get really good at that one thing. And it kind of like wouldn't have ever got us to our end goal. We didn't want to be owned. We didn't want to be told what we could and couldn't do, because we knew the plan was ambitious, but we've got the team that can do it. So we turned around and said, let's just struggle a little bit, do it ourselves, pull it together, use our experience, skills, and network, and we got it going ourselves, and we put ourselves in a very, very strong position without help.
Yeah, I honestly really, really respect that approach, because a lot of projects, as you probably know, get lost in the weeds once you have investors and they're kind of taking the direction, and you really lose the overall vision of the initial project as you have these other influencers, right, kind of directing what should actually be happening. So honestly, that makes me really, really happy that you guys are maintaining that ownership. I think it's a really strong stance.
Yeah, it's the two sayings that stick with me is you wouldn't wish a startup on your worst enemy, and it's probably the loneliest thing you can ever do, because the thing is that there's a lot of times where you feel like everything's against you or nothing's going to go your way, especially in the crypto space, right? Because crypto's a lot of noise, so you continually hear, oh, these projects are doing these amazing things around you, and then you realize, hang on, when you get under the hood, everybody's in a very, very early stage. So we sort of used our legacy industry experience to sort of just understand that we were getting close to the light and kept pushing, whereas a lot of projects around us that started at the same time all packed up and said, it's done. We knew we were onto the right path. We had a very, very solid plan. We started with the end in mind, and now it's starting to come to fruition. And I think, we've just got the ex-CFO from NEM and Hoiby on board as well. And as he rightfully pointed out, there's not many projects in the space that are actually profitable and making revenue. So we've got ourselves into a very strong position that we're actually we've got revenue, we've got profitability, and we're actually only building on that now.
That's awesome, man. Huge congrats for everything that you've accomplished so far. I think this is a good time to maybe start diving into some of those puzzle pieces that you guys are working on. I really want to start off with the virtual space. Can you kind of talk to us a little bit about like what is the virtual space and what is that puzzle piece?
Yeah, sure. So a lot of people, we were kind of early to the NFT and the gaming side of things. We sort of saw that coming. We've seen that the e-commerce streaming, which is probably largely foreign still in the States, but in Asia it's exploding and it's going to be a worldwide phenomenon. We also saw metaverse as a way to, when you've got a venture builder, you're in a perpetual raise model, right? So every venture you bring out, you've got to go out and say, hey guys, I've got an idea. It's going to cost $10 million to get it going. And you're out fishing, asking for money for every time you raise a venture, right? Because you've got to put on a team and GMs and staff, and you've got to put in R&D and product development, and it's not cheap. So we thought, how do we combine all of the projects that we've got together in one central space that allows the shared audience to give each venture we launch a much better chance of survival? And the way we did that was we said it has to plug into something. So what is that central point? So the metaverse, we thought that's where it's headed. That's where metaverses are going to be the next big thing. That's sure and certain to us. Data suggests that, and we're very data driven. And this was 18 months ago. So we saw this a long time out. And what we said was we have to have a unique selling proposition. It can't be just like sell space, hope people build on it, and have this world with holes all over it. Let's build it a lot smaller. What we did was we've built, and there's some more sneaks coming out now, 4 separate cities on a space station. Each of the cities have a slightly different theme. And then we will focus on shops. So we have 120 shops, and those shops at the global level will sell digital items, whether it be NFTs, wearables, or anything digital. So we'll have marquee brands in 8 of the stores, and then we'll do a land sale with 100 shops. Those 100 shops will be available to any person who has a digital business. And so our unique selling proposition is we've combined e-commerce in a sense with the metaverse. And what we've also got is esports stadiums. We've got sporting stadiums and concert halls and stuff like that as well, all built for VR. And I guess the kicker is we've started building from scratch with VR. So we've incorporated VR from the get-go, from minute one. So we're also used a gaming engine rather than a straight blockchain. And what this has meant is that the graphic level is similar to a high production video game, and therefore we can plug in the Oculus headsets and all the rest of it from a very, very early stage. So we've gone for aesthetically something that's a bit more interesting, that appeals to the more commercial crowds, but we've also combined that e-commerce idea in there and not just basically said, here's a whole heap of land, just build something, because it's just not going to get done. People will sit on the land, try and flip it, and it won't ever get built out. So we provide the shops and the cities finished, and then you can decorate them and modify them as you see fit.
That is like super exciting, coming from somebody who's played video games basically all his life. So will you be able to just plug in the Oculus? I don't have one, but will you be able to plug in the Oculus and like it's an MMO RPG type of game? Like you can just meet other players online and like go into the NFT shop and kick it, and everybody can just chill in there. And yeah, that's sick.
What we're working towards. We have to work through gears, obviously, and through iterations, but we made a few tough choices, because we could have just slapped something together and put it out for the sake of having it out, because we had called it early and we have been building for a long time. But we decided that we just want to do this right. We want to make sure that we know we get one chance at this. So we've decided just to sort of do this the right way, make sure it works that way. And we've already talked internally about having our C-level morning stand-ups in a room with our Oculus headsets, because we're all global. So a chance for us to hang out and stuff. We want to immerse ourselves in our own products as well. So we've just ordered our Oculus Rifts now. So we're actually like trying to get as deeply immersive as we can in the products. But ultimately, I think we've sort of gone out and talked about this, but we haven't really sold a lot of what is coming, and we'd rather just show it. But some of these trends are very predictable as to where things are going, and others we've got no idea where this will evolve to and how fast the technology will grow, especially with COVID having really accelerated adoption and accelerated digital movement. So what we're building is a platform, so it'll allow people to come in and actually integrate new tech and new ideas as well. So we're very excited to see how this builds out.
Yeah, no, that sounds really, really interesting. Honestly, I might have to just cop an Oculus just for that, because that would be sick. Like, I can hang out with my Twitter friends in RedFox land or the space, and we could just go buy NFTs or kick it in there. And I actually had another question. Were you going to be able to hear them or talk to them through a microphone?
Yeah, we're still working on those features and what the capabilities and tech will allow now. But chat's kind of like one of the later things that we've looked at. So we're sort of just really looking into the what capabilities we've got, because don't forget, some of the offerings not everyone will use, because predominantly the Southeast Asian market, which is where we're based and who we predominantly cater for, although it's digital and borderless, that's our target market. These guys are all on mobile phone. So we have to make sure that everything is usable in an app. Everything is, we don't sacrifice quality, that the graphics and the function is spot on. And not a lot of the people in the beginning will have the headset. So the fact is that we've got to be mindful of our target audience as well. So it'll be more like a chosen experience if they want to do that. But as I say, we've built it with that from day one. So that is the plan for sure and certain. But the real kicker here is the global space will be then followed by regional spaces. So when we go into Vietnam and Philippines and Indonesia, say we go into Philippines, for example, and we replicate the virtual space for the Philippines, then you'll do virtual in real life. So what you're doing is you're going into a food court, ordering a hamburger from a Sky Kitchen that's only available in the virtual space, for example, and then getting the burger delivered to your house in real life. So you can buy a combination of NFTs, digital items, and stuff delivered to your doorstep that you've bought in a metaverse in VR.
Yeah, that is sick. That's sick.
Yeah, that's crazy. Are people going to be able to customize their avatars in the virtual world, or what do people look like?
Yeah, they will be able to customize their avatars, and we've also got COGS, which is the NFTs that we do, which is keys to other games, and we're also playing around with how our art and how our designs and characters can also come to life. But ultimately, this is something that interests bigger brands with IP as well. They would love to have their stuff as an avatar. But the great example I always give is Kanye West, for example, can come along and say, I want to sell a whole lot of digital memorabilia T-shirts and stuff that can be worn. So what you can do is you could go along and buy a shop, because the shops are NFTs. All of the assets inside are NFTs. So you could go along and buy from Kanye a shop full of his digital wearables. And then you're a licensed reseller, then you can actually sell those NFTs in your shop. So celebrities and influencers have a chance to be able to use your shop if you've already owned it, or if you want to sell stuff on consignment, or you want to buy from these people. There's so many different things you can do, because, as stated, the shops are NFTs, the assets inside are NFTs, and we can do some really, really cool stuff with transfer of ownership and IP. I think that the NFT movement, seeing it just as a piece of art, is kind of like very early phase one of many, many iterations that are coming. And I think us and many other projects out there are doing a stellar job at trying to work out where this tech is going, what it can actually be used for. And I can assure you, art is just the very, very beginning of what this movement will end up being.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we just had Alex from OpenSea on the space, and he was touching on like the intellectual property benefits. For example, an influencer who's maybe uploading to YouTube or streaming on Twitch, right? They get flagged all the time for copyright music. Imagine being able to show your wallet, show that you actually have rights to that music or that song. and then your videos or your stream doesn't get flagged. And I think that's a really, really cool use case from like an art an IP perspective. But I think you're absolutely on point. Like NFTs are just getting started, and we don't even know what the end what the end game of these NFTs are. I mean, we also had projects on like Realty who are essentially NFTing actual real estate properties in
Yeah.
the real world and starting to sell them. So I mean, it's just getting started, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, we've already got people talking to us about. We've had it for a long time with people saying, I mean, this is just an obscure edge case, but a quick example is, 60% of a new apartment building in Vietnam has to be owned by locals, and 40% can be owned by foreigners. So, for example, people are looking at how to buy a whole commercial building, have partial ownership represented by NFTs, and that way it doesn't matter where you are. You can buy liquid shares in an actual real property, and it can be all foreign because the local company that owns it is Vietnamese. And then what happens is if you want to sell, you don't have to worry about listing your apartment on a market. You've got a liquid market for being able to sell your share of, might be a tenth of an apartment or whatever, but you're selling them based on the market rates, and they've got a much more liquid market. And then you can use those as Airbnbs or timeshares or something like that. So they're trying. I mean, these are the types of progressive ideas that are already floating through the region, and I think you're going to see this as being a transfer of ownership, transfer of wealth, transfer of ideas and property. It's going to be very, very big.
Yeah, you already kind of touched on it a little bit. Your cogs, keys to other games, those NFTs. Can you kind of touch on like what the cogs are and how they play into the virtual space?
Yeah. So a couple of years ago, I think Ark was on here a second ago. Ark Legger from H1Z1, Daybreak Games. He's Sony for 11 years. He's a pretty much a legend in the gaming space. I interviewed him years ago and said, you should come across and we should build a game together on blockchain, and this is what we should do, because he was talking about some of the problems of transfer of ownership. People get like 70% of the transactions are fraudulent when you're trying to sell stuff. Game makers can just close the service down and you're out. So we turned around and said, why don't we build something where the assets can be used across a number of different games so that doesn't happen. We can prove the ownership and we can get rid of the fraud element because we can make it a safe to transact environment. So we put our heads together, and his concept was look at POGs, which was milk caps or Tarzos, it was called in Australia. So they were like milk caps. You used to collect them from the supermarket. Kids would play it in the school ground. You'd collect these milk caps, you'd stack them up, whack them with a heavy milk cap called a slammer, and whatever flips face up, you'd get to keep. So we thought, well, that's a good start, because if we can do a replica of that type of schoolyard phenomenon and play for keeps, play for fun, play in tournaments, we can really do a really good play to earn model just based on that one game. But then what we'll do is use these cogs to access places in the virtual space, events, we'll do collateral, loans, staking, all sorts of stuff. And COGS, K-O-G-S, stands for keys to other games, because the whole idea of these NFT pieces is that they're fully transferable, fully interoperable. Soon we will also, besides putting out our second game, we'll also put out SDKs and allow companies to come in and build games integrating and utilizing COGS. So we fully understand that probably our best games are yet to come, and they're going to be actually built by and provided by external builders. And that's cool with us. We want to be the platform that allows this whole play to earn economy and the interoperable NFTs to exist. So we're already at third edition of that. We've got our game is in closed beta. It's about to go to multiplayer version next week, and we're very, very close to the full Play Store and App Store releases now.
That's really exciting. You mentioned the pay to win instead, or not pay to win, the play to earn instead of pay to win. Could you go more in depth on how that'll work with like a rewarding system? Yeah.
So basically, there's so I think most people are familiar with Axie, and Axie is actually based in Ho Chi Minh as well. So with Axie in the region and how well they've done, they've got a play to earn model, and it's extremely successful. Those guys have done miraculous job of building a massive audience. What we're doing is we're going in with a slightly different model that allows people to start playing at no cost with no requirement, and they can earn from the very beginning. But then you have the ability to obviously earn more, play more, enter more tournaments if you are collecting the cogs and buying the cogs, and you've got sets. And when you finish a set, you put them inside of a tube. So you've got tubes, and these sets, cogs, and tubes act as entry points to tournaments, and also allow you to be able to get rewards based on what you hold. So our play to earn, we really focus on digital inclusion. So what we've done is we've built a version of the game that allows, you know, anybody of any age to come along and just download the game for free and to be able to start playing it. And then if they want to go into that play to earn, they can complete tasks and quests, and they can start building their collection. And then that collection obviously will then lead to tournaments and play for keeps, play for fun, and give these people an opportunity to be able to really do something similar in the sense of being able to play their game, get good at their game, invest time, invest money, and also to earn as a result.
Yeah, that's super exciting. You had mentioned the tubes, right? So you collect your cogs and then they go into a tube. And since it's in the metaverse, would you be able to, and this is just coming from like a designing aspect in games, like I love, like in certain games you can buy houses and design them. Are you gonna be able to have like a wall that you can just like keep all your tubes kind of as like a trophy display?
Yeah, 100%. So displays are going to be something that's like the whole idea of not only play to earn but collections is about the flex, right? So 100%. I'll keep a bit of that as a surprise, but yes, for sure, in certain the flex is an element, and we want to make sure, and we've always said that these things will be heavily integrated into the metaverse. But with the VR and with the type of game structure that we're building out, the Easter egg type of element as well will be massive. And we've talked about this on some of the interviews and stuff, is that you could actually order something from a food court, know that you've got a 20-minute delivery time, and you could complete Easter eggs or hunts or tasks within the virtual space as well. But what we want to do is we want to make it so that tube holders and stuff have access to special areas that are not accessible by anybody else, and entry to events and concerts and stuff. We want to make sure that people are rewarded and they have perks as a result of that in the space.
That's really, really cool. So it's like, hey, I have this NFT. I can now go to like a special speaker event or a special concert, things like that. And to play the games themselves, do you envision like an arcade space within the virtual space, or how do people actually go about jumping in?
Yeah, so there'll be the apps obviously for the games, but we've also talked about designated areas in the virtual space. We've also got an esports stadium as well. So you'll be able to, if you make it to the big stage, and some of the ideas that we've been talking about are, you know, being able to play in the back alleys and the smaller areas, and then sort of working your way up to the big esports stadiums and tournaments. And as I say, when you've got other game designers and developers coming in as well to launch their games, this will take a direction that's well beyond, or in a very different fashion to what we envisage and what we first implement, which is the exciting part about it all. But we've really built on that theme of the schoolyard classic of playing in the back alley or on your lunch break in the schoolyard, and then working your way up to the big tournaments. And I think our monetization model and our play to earn model will make us extremely popular, especially in Southeast Asia. Some of the money that people are able to generate in play to earn games is enough for them to change their lives or to leave their jobs here. And I noticed that, you know, when Axie first started, people were saying, you know, that's not a huge amount of money in the States, for example, but it's a different ballgame here. $400 or $500 a month is a significant amount of money for playing a video game.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's crazy, dude. Like with Axie, they have like the Axie houses, and you see people actually like getting their first homes from the game. I'm mind blown.
Well, you think about it. We've had that. I got asked that in an interview the other day. Someone said to me about Australia. They said Australia is like ridiculous, like the cost of houses now. People even struggle for rent, and you've got these dinks, dual income, no kids. People are spending 70% of their combined income just on their mortgage. It's like crazy rates, and they were saying we believe that things like what you're building will end up becoming people's virtual houses, because this could be a foray or an entry into real estate ownership that then they could then over time, when it appreciates, they could flip this into real estate. And I was saying, well, that could be good if you're buying houses. Ours are shops, so it's a bit different. But definitely the landlord model is possible. You could buy a shop and rent that shop to a retailer, and then sell the property if the value goes up. But I was really shocked to hear how many people are already thinking of it that way. I hadn't even considered the concept of the thought of people are using virtual real estate ownership as an entry into the real estate market. It just blew my mind.
Yeah, that's like a 300 IQ play.
It is. It's really full on. It's risky as hell as well.
Yeah, definitely. Kind of going back on, you said like entering the tournaments. I don't know if you're familiar with there's this anime called Hunter x Hunter, and there's these two kids that go to this like tournament tower and fight and earn money. So that almost like puts an aspect in the game of like a hero's journey, right? Because if you grind
100%.
within the game, your name is known and you get rewarded for it. And that's just
100%.
like, yeah, that's the ultimate aspect of any gamer's life, just grinding for a game and like recognition within that game. So
You've got to have
that's
the
super
flex.
interesting.
It's got to be about the flex. And the thing is that what we've always said, especially with our rewards and our play to earn, is we've said these rewards have to be worth people's time. People's time is their most valuable commodity. And if they're not going to if they're going to spend a lot of time, they should get rewarded. So we've done the reward side of things and customer experience for decades now, and helped all of the big, airlines and companies sort of put together frequent flyer programs or rewards programs. And we are very, very in tune with what you're saying, and we want to make sure that there is that element of I feel special for what I've achieved. And I look at my son, 9 years old, and he's locked behind a computer. He can't move. He can't go to school. These kids aren't playing sport. They're not getting out. They're not doing what we used to do. Might be different in your parts of the world, but here it's not. He's not playing sport. He's not running around. His world is a computer. He finishes school, presses log off, then goes out and hangs out with his friends. And by doing that, he presses log on. So he doesn't even move from his chair. So these kids grow up in a virtual world. I ask him what he wants to do when he grows up, and he says, get a job in a video game. He plays Roblox nonstop like all the kids do, and he firmly believes that he can build a sustainable career inside of these video games. So, I mean, if we're not listening to the youth and we're not watching what they're doing and seeing what they're doing, these guys are so digitally connected, and they're looking for different opportunities than what we had when we were kids. So this is definitely headed in a very exciting, scary, and also unknown direction.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's super interesting that, a kid wants to go get a job in a virtual game. I mean, honestly, that would be really cool. And then there's also multiple aspects to that. Like, you have to make sure that you're getting enough exercise and eating well. And, because like if you're not taking care of yourself as a human being, because, we can't forget that there's a real world too, then that'll directly affect the virtual world too.
100%. But you also know that, if you read The Habit Loops by Charles Duhigg and all of these types of things, after 3 months, we develop some pretty deeply ingrained habits if we do the same thing over and over and over again. I don't know how much normalcy we'll see people go back to. I think people are used to now working from home, schooling from home, playing video games instead of going outside. And, I've tried to do the whole come to the beach for an hour, and it's like boring sand, water. I want to play something. I want the adrenaline rush. And it's like, geez, we've got to get these kids away from this stuff and into the real world. So I think it's also our obligation as builders to make sure that we are balancing that, and we're actually making sure that that we're building stuff that can, challenge the mind and the body. And I think it's really, really important to understand that, exactly like you say, we're going to have problems with exercise, mental health. People are more connected yet more disjointed than they've ever been in their lives. So that's something I'm acutely aware of, and want to make sure that we do our part to make sure that that's balanced as best we can.
Yeah, that's definitely super important. This is just off the dome. Would you maybe like incorporate, okay, after say 6 hours of playtime, you go and like you're not account locked, but you can't really do anything for 15 to 30 minutes. Like just go eat, go outside, enjoy real life, come back and play. Because
Yeah, I don't know.
as a gamer, I've stayed in my room for like 16 hours a day, just straight playing. And that is not healthy.
Nah, look, I think ours is based on the retail and events, so I wouldn't assume that in the beginning, anyways, that there would be 16 hours for you, unless you really, really want to just look inside of every single shop and catch the sky trains around and check out the planetary configurations and stuff. I don't think there would be that much to keep you going for 16 hours, depending on what you're doing. But ultimately, even now with my son, what I'm trying to do is just make sure that we're doing, they trick you into exercises these days. They've got these VR apps that you have to catch things that are flying past. And then what you realize at the end of it is you've done 85 star jumps and touched your toes 50 times. And it's quite clever at disguising gamification with exercise. So I think people are already acutely aware of this and building for this type of stuff as well. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But yes, we'd always have a duty of care for sure.
Yeah, do you think the games themselves within the platform or the quest that you talked about could also incorporate location-based events in the real world?
Yeah, absolutely. That's so. Our long-term plays is to have the localized rollout, so to have the ones in the Philippines, Vietnam, Indonesia, because they can also be localized as far as language is concerned as well. And when you're doing physical virtual combinations, you don't want, for example, a person to buy a pair of shoes in Norway from a guy who lives in the Philippines. Logistically, that makes things very, very difficult. So we would 100%, with the technology that we've got, be able to do real life-based Easter egg hunts, events, meetups, location-based events or tasks. All of this is already technically available from day one.
Yeah, that's incredible, man. I mean, you're opening up a whole new world for these youngsters, and I also really, really think that you guys are very future forward in terms of thinking about how e-commerce is going to evolve. From a digital standpoint, right? Like I think websites and things like that just aren't as interactive, and this is going to lead to a whole new play in different regions and different areas.
Good point. And I think the two things that I can touch on there is that, again, like I said, we're more connected than we've ever been, but we're more disjointed than ever. And that's what we thought. We thought, look at a static 2D website. It's boring. It's just click, click. They are designed for one click and get out of there, which is fine for convenience. But people have lost that contact that they used to have by going to the shops, talking to a person, asking for help. The virtual space obviously offers that. But more importantly, we've got, like I always use the same example, we've got a lady that lives next door and she uses a 80-year-old metal machine to make sugarcane juice, and that's probably been going for generations in their family. Those types of people have all been forced out of business, and some of them do amazing products. If you've got a virtual space and a platform, it's a great leveling field, right? If your product is of good quality, you have the opportunity to stand up against the Starbucks or whoever else it is. We want to make sure that a lot of these Southeast Asian businesses have a platform to be able to reach the public and to be able to be measured on the quality of their products as opposed to where they're located or how long they've been in business or whatever it might be. And a lot of these people here have lost their bricks and mortar business. They've got tons of inventory. They can't sell it. And we just think that, by what we're doing, it actually also helps. It helps to expedite. It reduces the reliance on having bricks and mortar businesses. And we can still really promote that interconnectivity and making sure that people can still speak directly to a person and ask them questions.
Yeah, 100%. I work for a pretty large e-commerce operation in IRL. And anytime that someone calls in and actually speaks to a customer service agent, we know that the AOV of those customers, average order value, is extremely high. LTV, lifetime value of the customer, is also much higher. And so I think that this is encouraging kind of that interactive experience, and almost like creating a VIP type experience for customers and answering questions. A lot of customers, especially older customers, they don't necessarily know how to use a website, and I don't know if they would know how to do this. But at the same token, as the younger generation gets older and they require additional care and effort to convert them or get them educated on certain products, I definitely see them loving this type of virtual marketplace and having that experience to go and talk to someone. And the younger generation doesn't want to read. They don't want to read anything.
Exactly.
They want to be told what to do. And so I think that this is also catering to that demographic.
Yeah, we we've got over 104 million people in the 25 to 34 year age bracket here, but also the 18 to 24, we've got just almost the same 102 or 3 million coming up through. So this next generation is pivotal to our plans as well, because we always start with the end in mind and work our way back. But we plan to be here for a long time, and that's why we're building a proper infrastructure that clicks together. So we've got the game side of things. We've got a finance that will be properly rolled out shortly. We've already started. We've got media, we've got TV, so streaming with overlays, and that goes into the shopping and cashback app. We've got the reward system over the whole ecosystem. So we've got lots of different pieces of the puzzle that are coming together. And to your point, I think it's just really, really important that you've got that experience and immersiveness. And our background is CLV or TLV, as well as also CX, NPS, effort score. So we really, really get the deep data science of behavior, and what we're trying to do is make sure that we are providing not only an experience to our customers, but more importantly, an experience that is available on our platform, so that customers, whether they be retailers or end users, are able to utilize those flows and that structure. So what we're doing is we're helping these businesses by giving them the structure they need to monitor, measure, and understand the traffic and their audiences, and that's where we'll probably have our greatest impact.
Yeah, 100%. You touched on you already have a finance platform that works. I know RedFox Finance is a really big portion of what you guys are doing. Can you kind of touch on RedFox Finance and the different coins, RedFox and VFox, that are part of that?
Yeah, sure. So had a lot of questions in relation to that. Why do you need two coins? But VFox, for all intent and purposes, is a rewards token, and when you give rewards, you can trigger involuntary tax events, and there's all sorts of things that go around that when you're doing rewards. So we had to make sure that was much more of a voluntary opt-in, and if people buy that, they understand what it is and what they're getting involved in, whereas the RFox token is the utility token. So anything that courses through the metaverse or through any of the ventures, we're building all of the infrastructure now with a single login and everything to go through RFox. Now, what I mean by go through RFox is some countries, some places you'll be able to just use RFox at the top layer. Countries like Vietnam, it's illegal to use anything other than the Vietnamese dong to purchase things that are already purchasable with the dong. So if it's a new item, then that's possible depending on the technology set, but ultimately we have to be mindful of laws and legislations, and they're different in every country. So everything will go, so say for example, I pay in Great British pounds for something, and I'm a consumer, and the end user, the shop owner, wants to be settled in US dollars, it would course through RFox in the middle. So we are making sure that it's got a full heavy transaction volumes and volumes going through there, and then we actually take a percentage of everything that goes through the metaverse and in RFox, so we keep a bit aside, and then we distribute that to the VFox holders. So that's how the two different tokens work, and this is all integrated through all of our ventures, so it will be the same format for all. As I say, in countries that are friendly, we'll have RFox at the top as the utility. But in most of the countries that we operate in, it'll be second layer, because the other fastest path to adoption is these people, they're largely cash economy. So we want people to be able to go in, top up at a 7-Eleven and to be able to buy our stuff. So we're working with payment providers and e-money wallet providers now on the fiat integrations for RFox as well.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. Do you envision being able to purchase RFox directly with a credit card in the virtual space, or how would people go about actually getting the token?
Yeah, it's a good question. Yes, they will definitely be able to do that. We're working with lots of different providers. We've already started to integrate with a few, with at least one exchange, and then talking to more now. So in the virtual space, we envisage it to be a bit like kiosks or like Coke machines. Some of the exchanges want to have like a Coke machine type of setup where you've got a QR code and a wallet, and you zap it, and they'll take whatever's in your wallet, and you're actually effectively able to buy whichever cryptocurrency you'd like. So there's a few really good plans there, and again, we don't want to be the payment rails or the payment providers. We want to focus on the platform and the experience and the software and connecting people to people. So we've got a few people that are jumping on the opportunity to come in and say, we'll provide the payment rails and the gateways for you, because it's obviously in their best interest as well. But ultimately, that means that there'd be several different payment options for people as far as coming in and being able to get their hands directly onto RFox. And part of the play to earn is it's very important, especially in these developing nations, that we are allowing people to be able to earn RFox in the game and then to easily cash it out into their local currency. That's very important. So that's what we're spending a lot of time doing, and we're very close in a couple of countries now. So we're just working on the final details, and then that would give us a huge fast track to adoption, because now people can just use cash to get into our ecosystem.
Yeah, that's smart. That's really, really smart. You're catering to the on and off ramps of fiat, and
Yes.
I think that's a really, really based decision on your part. I'm curious, with RFox, are you guys going to enable like other DeFi products and services on the platform, like loans and lending, things like that?
Yes.
Yield farm.
Yeah. So as a venture builder, we made no bones about it. We've got a 9-point funnel system for choosing which to build out next and what to build. So we basically have a very strong list of prerequisites to determine what we're going to build and why. So RFox Finance, although it might look like a site that does a little bit of farming and staking at the moment and what's happening next, people have asked, why are you doing facelifts on it and upgrades? What's coming? We've always said that we would like to build out a Ping An type model, and Ping An, for those who don't know, is one of the most profitable companies in China, but started off as like an aggregator for insurance and finance. And in this part of the world, lots of people still have to go into a bank, take a ticket, sit on a blue plastic chair, wait for hours, fill out a form, wait 5 days to be told whether their loan's gone through. There's no really good aggregation tools in this particular country, and the hurdles for entry are just too big. So what we always said was a Ping An allows people easy access to finance and insurance, but also to collateral loans and lots of different financial products as well. So we're in the hiring phase for the GM to take over that venture and then start to really build out the products. We've got a ton of projects that have already come to us and asked us to list their tokens against RFox, so locking up more and more RFox, and that'd be really great for total lock value, and it would be great for the system itself. But we're being very, very careful in vetting, because you just don't know. A lot of these projects are very new, and a lot of them are anonymous. So we're one of the only projects that have this type of a service that have names behind it. That's why people are coming to us. They're saying, well, you're real people, you've put your name to it. So these are big projects that want to come across to the BSC side. So we're looking now at who we can work with, and we're defining the vetting process, and then madly scrambling to find the right GM to take this to the next level and introduce a whole heap of new products.
Yeah,
that is.
No, I was just gonna make a joke. I was gonna say, man, like no one's gonna trust a Pokemon, right? No one's gonna trust a Pokemon to set that up.
Well, we've got to be careful as well
Yeah,
because we've got our names out there. We have to be double careful, right? Because we've got to, if we put a project on, and then that project ends up running away or doing the wrong thing, then people will forever say you guys were involved in that or you brought in that. So it's a big. Every decision's a crucial decision, and when you've got a network of companies and an ecosystem, the stain spreads further as well. So reputational damage is extremely big consideration for us. So we've got to be very careful.
That actually, before we move on to the next topic, that goes into a question that I don't know if he's in here right now, but 0x Photography had a question. Oh yeah, I see him. He asked if you guys are going to do a DAO or anything like that. Just maybe voting on who you let in and whatnot.
We to be honest with that, and we're pretty open with this as well. We will find the right GM to run it, and what we do is we make sure that the GMs have the same value systems as we do, and we make sure that they understand the end vision and the end picture. We would then let those guys make the decisions based on their experience, because we have a rule of bakers going to bakers' rooms and mechanics in mechanics' rooms, and so we're going to find the right person to make those qualified decisions. They have to deal with all the legalities. We've already sort of dug into those all, and there are issues with DAOs, but there's also a lot of benefits with the DAOs as well. So it's just a matter of balancing those, and then also understanding which regions you're offering your services to. And that's why it's better for all of the people that have these farms to be anonymous, because then they don't have to worry about that stuff. They can just, if the heat gets too much, they can just turn off and go away. But we obviously, being known, being registered, being incorporated, being a proper company, we have to be very, very careful on who and where we offer the products, and that's why we need someone much more qualified than us to be able to make those decisions.
Thank you for answering that. And 0x, thank you for the question. We definitely appreciate it. So kind of going on to the next topic, can you go into why RedFox is running a Chainlink node?
Yeah, so we talked to them quite a while ago when we first started developing the game. The game should have been out by now, but what we did was we brought out a beta version, and then, as is our model, we have a debot model, so we design it, build it, operate, and then transfer to a much more qualified team. That team that came in has rolled out tons of games, very experienced, and has said we can do a facelift, go for the mass appeal, and look for the dynamics to be better suited to play to earn. And that's been a laborious task for the last 6 months, and now they've got it to the point where it's ready for release. So I think that the main thing is that we sort of want to make sure that everything is polished, that it serves its purpose, that it gets out to the market in the right way, and that doesn't always happen overnight. It's a matter of configuring things and making sure that they're right and they've got a good product market fit. So that's really, really important to us. Sorry, I think I've missed part of the last question though. I haven't answered it properly, right?
Yeah, no, it was just why you RedFox Labs was running a Chainlink.
Sorry, yes.
Yes.
So data's a massive thing for us. Everything we do runs on data. So we try to take as much guesswork out of everything we do as we possibly can. And Chainlink and us had been talking for some period of time, I guess for about a year, on all of the different things that we could potentially do together. And this was like the low-hanging fruit. This was the first thing that we could do. They already had a setup structure, and it made sense for us to be able to work with them and run a node. Gave them a heap of data, gave us data as well, and help with they've got all the infrastructure in place. They know how to do it. They're the best in the business at it. So it made sense. But really, technically speaking, this was the very smallest part of some really dynamic, amazing, larger scale stuff that we could do together. So it was the segue into what would come next.
Could you also touch on how that plays into the metaverse NFTs?
Yeah, so I think that a lot of what we're going to be doing with the metaverse requires validation. How do I explain that? Okay, so metaverse NFTs. All right. So if you've got a shop that is selling NFTs, we also have to make sure that these shops are above board, right? So we've got to make sure that user data is validated. Now, I don't mean from the buyer's perspective, but it could be that I'll give you a classic example: a shop owner. What happens if that shop owner's selling NFTs to fund terrorism, for example, so the AML KYC? So we need validation on whether the sources are pure, the right people are doing the right things, are registered. There's a lot of compliance type of stuff that you have to go through. Now, there's two ways you can do that. You can either go through and say, I want a record of everybody's shop ownership of their business licenses. I want to keep that on file and I want to lodge that with the SEC or whatever it is. But there's some clever ways you can do things with validation. So we've looked into a number of different options and ways we could potentially do that. But again, that's still very, very surface level as to what could possibly be done with Link and their network. This is just a very, very beginning. I mean, the direction that they're headed is also, they're miles ahead. They've got a massive head start on everybody else. And what we're looking at the moment is to plug into things that are already established and working. And we're looking to run and to move fast. So we're not looking to necessarily build everything we do from scratch. And it makes sense to partner with people that are very well established and have a foothold and also that global reach and expanse as well. So I think what they've done is absolutely amazing.
I totally agree, and I think this new digital economy that we're going into, like everybody's gonna have a role to play, and so you're 100% correct. Like building everything from scratch, from your standpoint, might not be the best business move. So integrating somebody like Chainlink is definitely very helpful. And I know you've touched. Obviously, you can do an Oculus and go into virtual reality, but have you looked into incorporate augmented reality? I know,
Yeah.
I think it was Apple that was going to start doing glasses.
Yeah, for sure. It's something that's on our radar. We're already talking to companies that are interested as well. And again, there's a lot of companies that have been doing this stuff for a long time. Like I think it's a lot more advanced technology than people think. What we're trying to do is work with industry leaders to work out how they can incorporate and how they can tack on to the platform, as opposed to us trying to build an AR studio from scratch, for example. So that's already something that's firmly on our radar. I think machine learning and AI, obviously that's very low hanging fruit, and that's something that's really important to us as well. We've even looked into, for example, 8D sound and how you can have these immersive experiences through the headsets as well, because there's a lot of people doing some amazing stuff with immersive sounds as well. And so this experience will be built out to be pretty mind-blowing in all capacities as far as sensories input is concerned. And a lot of people are saying that sounds like Ready Player One, but we looked at things like Ready Player One, and you know that these sci-fi movies always very apt at predicting the type of things that are coming next, and a lot of this is pretty common sense as far as what comes next. So what we're trying to do is build the basis, build the platform, make sure it's got a solid foundation, a good use case, tons of users, and then we've got the freedom and the option to be able to click onto whatever is moving in the right direction or taking off, which is the exciting part, because nobody knows how it will fully look in 5 years from now, which is, we find that to be extremely exciting.
That actually leads into my next question, and that question is, where do you see RedFox Labs in the next 1 to 2 years? I know you said 5 years, but just more of a short term viewpoint.
Yeah, so we'll have the ecosystem fully built out. That will be done. And then it'll be a matter of just building on top of that and value adds. So all of our products and new ventures that come out. So we've got the media covered, we've got the streaming covered, we've got the TV, the influencer platform. So that provides us with our reach. We'll have the payments through the cashback and shop e-commerce apps. We'll have the e-commerce retail, NFTs, games. So all of the basics are there. And we'll have that foundation, and we'll have the platform, and we'll have the ecosystem built out. So then it's a matter of saying, right, what fits the 9-point model, what comes next, what adds value, and a lot of that will also be determined by line items. So if something's costing us a lot of money, and we're thinking this costs us a ton to run to keep this ecosystem going, maybe it's best if we actually look at replicating our own version of whatever it is that's a massive cost drain, and work out how to sort of streamline that by bringing it in-house and then also offering those services externally as well. But the really important part for RedFox is that the metaverse, obviously, as the central platform that feeds all of the ventures, each of these ventures has to be a strong standalone proposition as well. It can't be reliant on only the metaverse. Although a lot of the traffic will flow in and out of the metaverse, these businesses will be strong standalone businesses.
Yeah, that's just super bullish to hear, honestly. From going from playing games on PlayStation 1 to now you can literally throw a headset on and you can go into these virtual worlds and play with people across the world. That's super exciting. And just for our last question, where do you see NFTs and gaming for Web3 economies going in the next 5 years?
I think it's I think we've only just started. What we're seeing is a lot of rising server costs, and we're seeing a lot of the games that are on the Play Store and App Store and stuff getting sick and tired of handing over 30%. And you've got people that are saying we can't monetize our games properly. We've got tons of users, but we've built a free model and it's too hard to change, or we don't know what to change. So I think that what you're going to find is that I think that it'll be a rapid. It'll seem like it happens overnight, where all the big AAA studios start to come across to the blockchain side. They're already here looking. They're already talking to us and other people, trying to work out how to integrate blockchain. So I think you'll see this just, it'll feel like a flick switch, and everybody's just dropped what they're doing and headed over to blockchain. When did that happen? It'll feel like that's happened, but it's already happening. It's a slow progression, and that's definitely where it's headed. And I've had a few invites recently for people that want to talk about blockchain gaming and 5G, and talking about how this is going to change the way the games roll out as well. And they're very, very interested in how 5G can integrate with blockchain. So telco is my background as well for 20 years, and this is something that's extremely interesting. All the conversations are pretty early on, but you can find a lot of it on the internet already. But some pretty smart guys are coming together trying to work out how those two will merge and impact gaming as well. So I'm very interested to see how that comes together.
100%. Ben, you answered all of our questions. Sometimes at the end, we like to allow audience members to come on. Do you have time if we allow like one or two people to come on?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
If anyone in the audience has questions, just request now, and I'll let you guys on one at a time, and you can ask Ben anything, man. He's super chill. Thanks for taking the time, Ben, to come on the space and talk to us and really dive in. I mean, this has been extremely thorough.
No problems.
Yeah, but and it's really, while we're waiting, it's really about informing the younger generation as well. But I think you've done a beautiful job at doing that as well tonight. Just because, I'm in my early 20s, and I'm sure a lot of the listeners in here are younger too. And so a lot of this stuff is brand new to us. So we're just now learning. And if, I wasn't on Twitter tonight, I'd probably have no idea, you know what I mean? So it's definitely very interesting. And I definitely appreciate your time.
No problems. And I think what I would say to people is that if you, like a lot of people say, hey, this looks like a cool option to go down in a pathway and looks like it'd be easy to build businesses in this space. I would say it's extremely challenging if you're still forming what you want to do with your life, or you're still studying and you're seeing blockchain as a potential industry path. I think it's a wonderful path. You just got to understand that the technology is extremely raw. It's in its very, very early stages. It has never really been tested to scale. So I think it's been around long enough now to show that it's going to be a massive player going forwards, and there'll be fast and rapid iterations and developments. But it's a testing, trying field, exactly like any emerging tech. But it's thoroughly rewarding as well. I honestly couldn't go back to doing anything else.
Yeah, I'm currently trying to get into the blockchain space, just fitting in where I fit and learning to code. I'm teaching myself how to code and just working with, me and Mewtwo and Chase. He's not here tonight, but he's one of our team members as well. Just, building a community aspect as well. Just something that I have on my resume going forward, and just kind of learning and really immersifying myself in the space. And I totally encourage other people that are listening that are young to do the same exact thing, because this is definitely the future.
Yeah.
You know, this and AI are definitely.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I mean, if people are have skill sets, or they want to learn more about the space or get into it, I'd say go to our website as well and look at the careers and jobs. If you're just a general application, or you want to do an internship, we do internships as well. Then definitely fire off a CV or contact us, because we're always looking for good talent, and we're growing rapidly. We've gone from 3 people in the beginning to well over 40 core members, and then as many contractors on top of that as well. So we're always looking for talent, and some people come in and have a look and say, whoa, this is way too hard for me. Other people come in and say, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, and we've tried to work a position in for them. So happy to talk to any of you who are interested.
What's going on, Blunt Man? Welcome to the Base Space.
Hey, thanks very much. This has been an awesome listen. I didn't even know that this was happening, but a very nice surprise that one of my fellow BAs has passed it on, and what an enjoyable listen. I just so first of all, thank you. But secondly, I just want to ask Ben if he can run us through some figures. He's recently now, admittedly, I tuned in halfway, so I'm not sure if he spoke about the paper that Ben has recently released, which people can find on the website. Very, very good read, and I encourage everyone to go and do that. But within that paper, there was some figures of projected revenue for each of these ventures. Now, obviously, if we were to combine that, it's just simply a behemoth. But if Ben can run us through some of those figures and get me excited once again, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'd say go in and read the paper and have a look at it. But ultimately, obviously VCs have become interested because of what we're actually talking about and doing. They've always been interested, but the interest has definitely peaked. And what we've done is we'd done projections until the end of 2024 with rolling out ventures one after another, and we'd gotten to 250 mil by the end of by the end of 2024. And then as we've decided to sit down and really build out the whole ecosystem at once and make sure all of those pieces come together and click together now, so that we've got the whole ecosystem out very shortly. We've those revenue projections by the end of 2024 with the user numbers, and this is all very easily quantifiable and verifiable because of cost of acquisition and average spend. Once we've got the metaverse and all of the ventures up and running, somewhere around the $600 million mark by the end of 2024 in revenue is actually achievable. And if you take into consideration that we're already profitable and making revenue now, it's not a far stretch at all. I mean, we'll do well over $20 million in revenue this year. And then you add on all of those other ventures that are coming through, and it escalates very quickly up to that 600 million mark after 2024. So all of that will be coursing through RFox as well, which is obviously extremely good news for the RFox holders.
Beauty. Thanks, Benny. And thanks, guys. I'll look forward to the next question. Ta.
Thanks for coming
Yeah,
on,
thank you,
man.
man, for coming on.
Appreciate you, dude.
Mutu, did you have any more requests?
Yeah, I got one more coming on.
Sweet.
Takes a few seconds.
No problem.
Ben, is that a Halo character?
Yeah,
I just realized that. That's awesome.
I don't know. It's Twitter. Can you guys see him or no?
Can't see anyone.
I can't see whoever you're bringing.
Maybe he dipped. He might have dipped. We might have scared him away. I think he's gone. I don't see him in the space. It could have glitched him out. If anyone else has questions, just request. I'll let you on. If not, I think we'll close it out here. Oh, we got Jem. Let's go.
Let's go, Jim.
Hey, how's it going, Jem?
Yeah, really good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Welcome to the Base Space.
So it's like 3 a.m. here. I was just trying to go to bed, looking on Twitter, listen to the space, and I was like, wow, okay, this is amazing. Like the inspiration and just the free alpha of what's going on right now within crypto blockchain. I hate to say it, but we are so early. And Blunt Man, you are doing God's work, whatever you conceive God to be. But I was here for 10 minutes and just wow. And I just wanted to say thank you, just for holding the space, for people interacting, for people asking questions, and for people also allowing themselves to be something that we're not told to be. That's the most important thing. So that was it.
100%.
So thank you.
Hey.
Also, Jim, we record these, so this will be up later, either this week or next week. So since you did come in later in the episode,
you could have definitely told me that beforehand. I'm going to sue you. That's what we do in America, right?
Thank you for
My bad.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Upload it, and if I see you, we'll give it to charity.
But thank you for
Awesome.
thank you for also saying that as well, Jim. I mean, obviously this is a great forum, and well done to the guys for putting this on. But ultimately, that's the great thing about this space as well, is that people do want to hear. If you're trying to actually build something and you're trying to make a difference and you're actually trying to do something, I think that most people, even if they've been around just for a few months, understand that it's not easy, and it's not. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. And I think that people coming in and identifying that there needs to be a change, and that we are the group of people that are driving the changes, and we're deciding what happens next. That's something that's pretty powerful, and there's not many technology movements that come along that let you decide what happens next. And I think that lawmakers always scramble to keep up with technology providers, and it's never been more prevalent than now. And I think that people want change, and I think the great part about it is they're going to get it. And this is a very big movement, and it's so far progressed now that it's not going to stop. It's just a matter of what shape it takes. So extremely exciting, and it's great that you guys
I completely agree with you, and I believe we've been born into the most important time, and I'm sure most generations believe that, but surely with this technology, with this ability, this must be the most important time. And even if it's not, let's really make sure we do the best that we can with it, because we see the suffering, we see the bullshit, we see the media, absolute. I've already been banned from my own spaces, so I don't want to swear too much, but there is so much bullshit going on, and we don't have to fix the system because we have our own system now. Like it's not that hard. We can do it.
100%, Jam. And the thing is that I always say to my team, and we firmly believe this, we say that we've got to have a purpose beyond just building something and creating something. And we focus on digital inclusion, but our modus operandus, what we always say to each other is we have to build something that we can look our kids in the eyes and say, we built that, we did that. Not looking them in the eyes and saying, oops, sorry, we did that. It's really something that we think we're building for future generations. So people.
I hate to say it, but maybe not even being able to look our kids in the eyes, because all these movies, all these crazy things that we think aren't going to happen. Yeah. Let's secure ourselves. Let's make sure that it could be a lot heavier than we really think.
Yeah. But the good part is we are being able to create. We are being able to have a fair say in what happens, and I think that we've just got to seize that opportunity and not let it pass. And I think we've got to move past this whole as fun as it is. We've got to move past this whole meme culture and actually provide something of value and sustainable value, and prove what the technology can actually do and what it can be used for. And I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I don't think memes are bad because they've created, all of this. We actually got to 33K by July. No one actually has celebrated it, but we did 33K by July. Memes create reality, and that's only because thoughts create reality. If people keep the vibration on the same level for a certain amount of time is going to happen. And if we have to do that through memes, then whatever. But it's just about vibration and energy. That's what Nikola Tesla told us.
1000% agree, Jim. You're tapped in.
He's tapped in.
It's also 3 a.m. and fuck,
Go to
I
sleep,
didn't. I can't, because now I'm excited and I want to talk about how the world is going, you know. But on maybe a last note, because it is 3 a.m., I've got one of the most interesting podcasts I've ever listened to. I've shared it a few times and it's been deleted. So anyone that wants to hear it, just DM me. I'll send you the link. And it's, yeah, blow your mind. It's amazing. I'd share it on Twitter, but
Amazing.
I can't.
Thanks for coming on, Jen. We appreciate you.
All right. Love you guys. Good night.
Bye, Jim.
Bye.
Jen.
I think that's probably the perfect outro.
Awesome.
Ben, thank you once again for coming on. Me too, and I definitely appreciate you and your time. And I'm just super excited to go play. Like I said, I had to go buy an Oculus
Well,
because I kind of just want to go ahead
yeah,
and be early.
100%. And look, thank you very much for building forums like this. I did the same thing back in the day, built a YouTube channel to try and just help my close friends, and it ended up spiraling. But the thing is that people that educate, lead the way, provide forums are the most important people in the space at this stage. So thank you very much for inviting me on. I appreciate your time and all people that have taken time out of their day to come across and listen.
100%. And Ben, we do record these. Are you cool with us posting this on our YouTube channel?
Yeah, sure, 100%. No problems at all.
Sweet.
Thanks again.
All right, Ben, we'll be in touch.
Stay based, brother.
No problem. Thanks, guys. See you.
All right, stay based, everybody.
Stay based. Let's go. See ya.